Ladies and gentlemen, listen up. There's a fire inside every one of us, a spark of genius waiting to ignite. But here's the thing, most people never learn how to fuel that fire. They settle. They stay comfortable in the cage of ordinary. But today, I'm here to tell you, what if I told you there's a way to hack your brain, to rewire your mind to be 50% smarter, sharper, and yes, far more dangerous to the status quo? Not dangerous in a reckless way, but dangerous in a way that means you hold the power to challenge, to create, to conquer. Because intelligence isn't just about knowledge, it's about action. It's about bending reality to your will. So, if you're ready to step into that power, listen close. This is the brain hack that will change everything. Look, take a moment and just look around you. What do you see? 100 distractions, phones lighting up, buzzing non-stop, messages, notifications, alerts, shouting for your attention like street vendors on a crowded corner. 1,000 voices calling out, pulling you left, pulling you right, demanding pieces of your mind every single second. That's the world we live in. A world built on noise, chaos, and endless interruptions. And in this world, there's one thing that's become more valuable than money, more precious than gold: focus. Focus is the new currency of intelligence. And I'm here to tell you that if you want to be smarter, if you want to be more powerful, you have to reclaim it. Focus isn't just about paying attention, it's about training your mind to cut through the static and zoom in on what truly matters. It's about mastering the ability to lock in, to block out the irrelevant, to say no to the million distractions screaming for your time and energy. Because here's the truth. The brain is a powerful tool, but it's also fragile. It's easily pulled off course. If you let every buzz, every ping, every shiny thing steal your attention, you're giving away your power piece by piece. You're letting your intelligence leak out through the cracks of distraction. Now let me tell you a story about focus, the kind of focus that changes everything. Malala Yousafzai, a young girl from Pakistan, grew up in a place where voices like hers were meant to be silenced, where education for girls was forbidden, where fear hung thick in the air. Yet Malala focused. She zeroed in on her goal like a laser beam. Even after surviving an assassination attempt, after being shot by those who wanted to shut her up, she didn't waver. That focus didn't just make her smart. It made her a global force for change, a symbol of courage, resilience, and intelligence in action. Her story isn't just inspiring, it's a lesson in the power of focus, because studies show that people who practice deep focus, real, undistracted, intentional focus, can increase their productivity by up to 500%. Think about that. 5 times more impact for the same amount of time. 5 times the results for the same effort. That's not magic. That's the brain rewiring itself, sharpening its edges, cutting away the noise to reveal clarity. And that clarity, it's what separates the ordinary from the extraordinary. The person who drifts through the day, pulled by every distraction, from the person who controls the day, who moves with intention and purpose. When you master focus, you unlock a level of intelligence that feels like pure power. You become a force to be reckoned with, not because you know more, but because you harness what you know and apply it with precision. But how do you get there? How do you reclaim your focus in a world that's designed to steal it away? It starts with awareness. You have to recognize the distractions for what they are. Thieves dressed as convenience. Those notifications, they're not helping you. They're breaking your concentration, fragmenting your thoughts, keeping you shallow when you need to be deep. Next, you have to build habits that protect your focus. Maybe that means turning off notifications during work, creating blocks of time where you dedicate yourself fully to one task. Maybe it means setting boundaries, learning to say no to the noise, the chatter, the endless scrolling that steals your time. This isn't about perfection. It's about intention. It's about giving your brain the space it needs to dive deep, to think critically, to create. And don't underestimate the power of rest. Focus isn't about grinding endlessly until you burn out. It's about cycles, work, rest, rest. The brain needs recovery to maintain sharpness. Think of focus like a muscle. If you push it too hard without rest, it weakens. But if you train it properly, with breaks and care, it grows stronger. Let me break it down even further. Focus is your secret weapon. It's like the difference between walking through a crowded street with your eyes glued to your phone versus walking with your eyes on the prize, seeing every opportunity, every challenge, every moment of grace. When you reclaim your focus, you reclaim control over your mind, your day, your life. I want you to imagine what life looks like when you operate at that level, when distractions don't dictate your actions, when you can sit down and produce work that's not just busy work, but meaningful work, when your thoughts are clear, your ideas are sharp, and your decisions are sound. That's what mastery of focus feels like. That's what it means to be truly intelligent. So start today. Notice the distractions, choose what deserves your attention and what doesn't. Train your mind like the weapon it is, because in this noisy world, the ability to focus isn't just a skill, it's a superpower. And when you harness it, when you master it, you unlock a level of intelligence and power that feels unstoppable. That's your edge. That's your secret. That's how you become not just smart, but dangerous. You ever stop and think about how diamonds come to be? Those sparkling gems we see on rings and crowns, formed deep beneath the Earth's surface, under intense pressure, crushing heat, and a whole lot of time? Nothing beautiful, nothing strong, nothing that shines like that comes without a struggle, pressure, fire, time. And that's the truth about your brain, about your intelligence, about growth itself. It doesn't happen in comfort. It doesn't happen when the road is smooth and the skies are clear. It happens in the fire, in the struggle. We've been sold this idea that intelligence means having all the answers, that being smart means never stumbling, never failing, never feeling the weight of doubt or hardship. That's a lie. Real intelligence, it's not about perfection. It's about resilience. It's about showing up when the questions get harder, when the failures stack up, when every setback feels like a mountain you can't climb. Intelligence is about pushing through all of that. It's about embracing the struggle because that's where growth lives, right there in the fire. Look at Thomas Edison, a man who changed the world, a man who gave us the light bulb, changed the way we live forever. But here's what they don't tell you. He failed thousands of times before he got it right. Thousands. And every time the light didn't turn on, every time the experiment blew up or fizzled out, Edison didn't see defeat. No, he saw a lesson, a sign that told him, try again, try smart. He understood that failure wasn't the enemy. It was part of the process, part of the journey toward genius. That's the brain hack. Train your mind to welcome struggle, to invite discomfort in, because that's how you grow, that's how you evolve, that's how you become stronger. Science backs this up. Neuroscience tells us that when we face challenges, real challenges, not easy ones, our brains get to work in ways they don't during smooth sailing. Your brain forms new neural connections, rewiring itself for better problem solving, sharper thinking, greater creativity. It's like building muscle. When you lift weights, you tear fibers in your muscles, but then they repair and come back stronger. The same goes for your brain. When you wrestle with difficulties, your brain adapts and becomes more capable. So when you feel uncomfortable, when the struggle is real, don't shy away. Lean in. Get comfortable with discomfort, because that's how you make yourself 50% smarter. And let me tell you something else. Struggle is the great equalizer. It doesn't discriminate. It shows up for everyone, rich, poor, famous, unknown. The difference is how you respond. Do you run from it? Do you let it break you? Or do you stand tall, face it, and say, I'm not done yet? Every great story, every success that ever mattered was born in the fire of struggle. Think about your own life for a second. How many times have you faced something that knocked you down? How many times has fear, doubt, or failure whispered in your ear, telling you to quit? And yet, here you are, listening to this right now. That means you've got a fire inside you already. You've got that hunger. You've got that spark. But hunger alone isn't enough. You have to embrace the struggle. You have to be willing to walk through the fire, knowing it's going to shape you, refine you, turn you into something stronger than you ever imagined. There's a story about a blacksmith who forged the strongest sword in the land. Day after day, he hammered it in the heat of his forge. The sword bent, cracked, and almost broke 1,000 times before it became perfect. Each blow, each test of strength was necessary. Without the fire, without the pressure, the sword would be soft and useless. Your brain is that sword. The struggles you face, they're the hammer and the fire. You see, growth doesn't come from ease. It doesn't come from cruising through life on autopilot. It comes when you're pushed, when you're challenged, when you're forced to reach deeper than you ever thought possible. That's the difference between a mind that stays the same and a mind that expands. A mind that gets smarter, wiser, more dangerous. Now, this doesn't mean you have to seek out pain or suffering for suffering's sake, but it does mean you need to change how you see struggle. Instead of a sign that you're failing, see it as proof that you're growing. Instead of a wall blocking your way, see it as a stepping stone to something greater. Instead of fear, see opportunity. You want to be 50% smarter? You want to unlock that next level of intelligence? Then get comfortable with the fire. Don't run from it. Don't hide from it. Step into it. Let it burn away the weak parts of you that are holding you back. Let it forge a mind that's sharp, resilient, and ready for anything. Remember this: diamonds are not formed in the calm. They are born in the pressure. They shine because they endured heat and time. So will you. You've got the same power inside you. You've got the same capacity for brilliance. The struggle isn't your enemy, it's your greatest teacher. Embrace it, grow in it, become unstoppable in the fire. And when you do, the world will see a different you. A you that's smarter, stronger, more dangerous. A you that doesn't just survive the fire, but thrives in it. That's where true intelligence lives. That's where greatness is made. You ever see a Ferrari roar down the highway? That sleek, powerful machine, engineered to perfection, designed for speed, precision, and dominance. Now imagine filling that beauty up with diesel. Diesel, that's not what it was built for. It would choke, sputter, lose power, it wouldn't run right, and eventually it would break down. Now, why would you do that to something so valuable? Why would you put junk fuel into a high-performance engine? That's exactly what happens when you put junk food into your brain. You see, nutrition isn't just about what you look like or how much energy you have. It's not just about your body, it's about your mind. Your brain is the most complex, most powerful organ in your body. It's the control center of your entire existence, the place where ideas are born, decisions are made, and where your future is shaped. And just like any high-performance machine, it needs the right fuel to operate at its best. Science tells us that certain nutrients, omega-3 fatty acids, antioxidants, vitamins, minerals, aren't just good for your heart or your skin, they're essential for your brain's health. Omega-3s, for instance, are like the oil that keeps your brain's engine running smooth. They help build the membranes of your brain cells, improving communication between neurons. Antioxidants fight off the damage from stress and toxins that can wear down your brain over time. A balanced diet rich in fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and lean proteins keeps your brain nourished and functioning at its peak. Look at some of the greatest athletes in the world: LeBron James, Serena Williams, Michael Phelps. These are people who don't just train their bodies, they train their minds, and they fuel their minds meticulously. LeBron James follows a strict diet designed not only to keep his body in peak physical condition, but also to keep his brain sharp, focused, and ready to perform under pressure. Mental training and nutrition go hand in hand because they know one without the other isn't enough. Their brains are conditioned just like their bodies: powerful, resilient, and razor sharp. And here's what most people don't realize. When your brain is fueled right, you don't just think better, you feel better. Your mood stabilizes, your creativity soars, your confidence builds. Ever notice how after a heavy junk food meal, you feel sluggish, foggy, like your thoughts are wrapped in cotton? That's your brain telling you it's not happy with what you've given it. On the other hand, when you feed it clean, nutrient-rich foods, you can feel the difference. Your mind becomes clearer, ideas come faster, you can focus longer, you become more creative, more decisive, more alive. This isn't some fad or gimmick, it's science. A 2015 study published in the journal Nutrients showed that people who followed a diet rich in fruits, vegetables, fish, and nuts scored better on memory and cognitive function tests than those who ate more processed foods and sugary snacks. The Mediterranean diet, for example, has been linked to reduced risks of cognitive decline and Alzheimer's disease. This is the fuel for genius. But feeding your brain right isn't just about eating salads and fish, it's about habits too. Hydration matters. Your brain is nearly 75% water. Even mild dehydration can affect your concentration, alertness, and short-term memory. Sleep is another crucial ingredient. While you sleep, your brain clears out toxins and consolidates memories, making your learning stick. Exercise gets blood flowing to your brain, promoting new brain cell growth and reducing stress. All of these things, nutrition, hydration, sleep, exercise, come together to fuel your brain's power. Let me be clear, you don't have to be perfect. This isn't about guilt or extremes. It's about respect. Respect for your brain and the potential it holds. You wouldn't expect your car to perform on empty or filled with low-quality fuel. So why expect your brain to operate on junk? Treat your mind like the high-performance machine it is. Give it the fuel it needs to thrive. Think about your own life. How often do you reach for that quick snack, chips, candy, soda, when you're tired or stressed? It's easy, it's convenient, but it's like putting dirt in the gas tank. That moment of satisfaction comes at a cost. You trade clarity for fog, energy for crash, creativity for confusion. But what if you flipped that script? What if instead of junk, you reached for a handful of nuts, a piece of fruit, or a smoothie packed with brain-boosting nutrients? What if you made a habit of treating your brain like the precious, powerful instrument it is? I want you to imagine waking up each day with mental clarity that cuts through the noise, creativity that flows like a river, and confidence that comes from knowing your mind is operating at full capacity. That's not just a dream, it's within your reach. That's the power of feeding your brain right. You're not just what you eat, you're what you feed your brain. When you fuel your brain properly, you unlock clarity. You unleash creativity. You gain confidence. And that's the foundation of genius. So ask yourself this: what fuel are you putting in your mind? Is it the kind that makes you slow down, lose focus, and doubt yourself? Or is it the fuel that drives you forward, sharpens your thoughts, and builds your dreams? The choice is yours. Remember, your brain is a Ferrari. Treat it like one. Feed it like one. And watch as it carries you to heights you never thought possible. Let me tell you something about danger. Most folks hear that word and think of fear, harm, running from trouble. But not all danger is bad. Some danger is the kind that lights a fire in your soul, that shakes your foundation, that forces you to grow. That's intellectual danger, the kind that challenges you, that pushes you beyond what you thought was possible. It's the kind of danger that doesn't break you, it builds you. It's the crucible of intelligence. Imagine yourself sitting in a room where every idea you hold dear is questioned, where the people around you don't just agree but challenge, confront, and make you uncomfortable. That's where the magic happens. That's where minds sharpen. Because if you surround yourself only with yes men and people who nod along, you're fooling yourself. You're living in a bubble, a prison of your own making. Real intelligence, real growth, it comes when you dare to step into the storm of conflicting ideas, when you welcome the discomfort of having your beliefs tested. Look at history's greatest minds. Those who changed the world didn't do it in comfort. They didn't get smarter by staying in their safe little corners. No, they surrounded themselves with intellectual fire. They sought out people who disagreed with them, who challenged their thinking, who made them uncomfortable. That's how they grew. That's how they innovated. Take Steve Jobs, for example. A man who changed the way we live and work, a man who built one of the most iconic companies on the planet. He famously said, "Innovation distinguishes between a leader and a follower." Now, where does innovation come from? It doesn't come from doing the same thing over and over, from nodding your head in agreement. Innovation comes from risk, from exposing yourself to new, conflicting ideas, from the willingness to be wrong, to be uncomfortable, to be dangerous. Surrounding yourself with intellectual danger means you're putting yourself in situations where you have to defend your beliefs, where you have to rethink what you thought you knew. It means having the courage to ask the hard questions, not just of the world, but of yourself. Why do I believe this? What if I'm wrong? What can I learn from this opposing view? That kind of questioning is not weakness, it's strength. It's the mark of a mind that refuses to stay stagnant. There's a story about a young student who went to study with a master philosopher. The student thought he knew everything and was eager to prove it. But the master challenged him, questioned his every assumption, pushed him to his limits. At first, the student resisted, uncomfortable with the challenge, but slowly he began to see that the discomfort was where his growth happened. That struggle with new ideas was sharpening his mind like a blade. That's intellectual danger at work. You want to be sharper? You want to be smarter? Then you have to be dangerous. Not with fists or weapons, but with your mind. Surround yourself with intellectual fire. Let your ideas clash. Let your beliefs be tested. It's in that crucible of conflict that creativity is born. That's how you find new solutions to old problems. That's how you break barriers. Think about it like a workout for your brain. If you only lift light weights, your muscles stay weak. If you only surround yourself with comfortable thoughts, your mind stays soft. But when you lift heavy, when you wrestle with ideas that challenge you, your mind grows stronger. It becomes more flexible, more creative, more prepared to face the unknown. That's how you become not just smart, but dangerous in a way that commands respect, that drives innovation, that changes the game. And this isn't just for philosophers or CEOs, it's for everyone. Whether you're a student, a worker, a parent, or a dreamer, you want to elevate your thinking? Step into the arena of intellectual danger. Seek out conversations that make you sweat. Read books that challenge your views. Debate ideas with people who think differently. Push yourself to question, to rethink, to evolve. But be warned, this path is not for the faint-hearted. Intellectual danger means risking your ego, risking comfort, risking being wrong. But that risk is worth it. Because intelligence without challenge is a candle flickering in the dark. But intelligence that's been forged in the fire of debate, challenge, and risk, that's a bonfire blazing bright enough to light up the world. So ask yourself, who are you surrounding yourself with? Are they lifting you higher or keeping you comfortable? Are you brave enough to seek out intellectual danger? To let your mind wrestle with big, difficult ideas? To be uncomfortable so you can grow? If you want to be sharper, more creative, more dangerous, that's what you have to do. Remember, danger doesn't always come from the outside. Sometimes it comes from within. When you challenge your own beliefs, when you question your own assumptions, that's the bravest danger of all. And that's where the real power lives. You want to be more than average. You want to be a leader, a creator, a force to be reckoned with. Then surround yourself with danger, the intellectual kind. Let that danger sharpen your mind, ignite your creativity, and make you unstoppable. Let me be clear with you, intelligence alone won't get you anywhere. Intelligence without action, that's like having a powerful engine but never stepping on the gas. It's like owning a map but never taking a step on the road. The mind can store endless knowledge, ideas, plans, but if you don't move, if you don't act, it's dead weight. It's potential that's wasted. Your power, your greatness, it's defined by what you do with what you know. There's a story you've all heard about a man who didn't just sit on his intelligence. He used it, shaped it, let it fuel his movement. Malcolm X. Now here was a man who went from the streets, from a troubled youth, caught in the traps of crime and despair, to one of the most powerful voices for justice the world has ever known. How did he do that? He didn't just read books, memorize speeches, or have ideas swirling in his head. No, he acted. He took what he learned, what he understood, and he moved. He stepped into the fire, fought for change, challenged the status quo, and inspired a generation. Your ideas, your intelligence, they mean nothing unless you put them into motion. Think about that for a moment. How many times have you sat with a brilliant idea and let it die because fear held you back? How many times have you thought about what you could do if only you had the courage to start? The truth is, the brain learns by doing. Studies show that when people take decisive action, their cognitive abilities actually improve over time. The brain rewires itself, grows stronger, sharper, because action is how knowledge becomes wisdom. Action turns theory into experience, potential into power. And now I want you to look around you. Look at the walls in your life, the fears, the doubts, the excuses that stand between you and your greatness. These walls aren't made of brick and mortar. They're made of hesitation and procrastination. And it's time to burn them down. Take that knowledge, that fire inside you, and turn it into movement. You don't have to wait for the perfect moment. That moment might never come. What you need is now. What you need is the courage to step forward, to make a move, to take the first step even if it's uncertain. Action isn't about perfection. It's about momentum. Every great journey starts with a single step. You don't have to have it all figured out before you start. What you need is the willingness to begin. The willingness to learn on the go, to stumble, to fall, and to get back up stronger. Because each step you take sharpens your mind, strengthens your resolve, and moves you closer to your goals. Remember, intelligence is a gift, but action is the gift you give yourself. You can have the smartest mind in the room, but if you never act, your intelligence is just noise. It's like holding a loaded gun, but never pulling the trigger. Don't waste the power you've been given. Don't let fear, doubt, or uncertainty rob you of your destiny. There's no secret formula here. The greats aren't great because they had perfect plans or flawless strategies. They are great because they moved, because they took what they knew and made it happen. They didn't wait for conditions to be perfect. They created their own conditions through relentless action. So ask yourself, what is holding you back? What walls are you ready to burn down? What knowledge, what fire, what power inside you is waiting for you to act? This moment right here, right now, is your chance to stop talking and start doing, to transform your intelligence into impact, to turn your dreams into reality. The world is waiting for what only you can bring, but it won't come to you if you stay still. Take that step, make that move, because intelligence without movement, that's dead weight. And you were born to move mountains. You hear me? Everything you need, it's already inside you. The focus that cuts through the noise like a knife through silk. The grit that doesn't quit when the world pushes back. The fuel, that steady fire that keeps your mind sharp and ready for battle. The courage that stands tall when fear wants to knock you down. And that relentless, unbreakable force that drives you to get up and act when others freeze. This brain hack I'm talking about, it ain't some hidden secret locked away in some ivory tower. No, it's a choice, a simple, powerful choice you make every single day. You can choose to rise, to stand taller than you did yesterday, to fight harder than you ever thought you could, to break the chains of doubt, distraction, and fear that the world tries to wrap around your mind. You have the power to become smarter, not just by soaking up knowledge, but by sharpening it through focus and relentless action. To become sharper, cutting through confusion and hesitation like a blade honed in fire. To become dangerous, not in a way that harms, but in a way that commands respect, breaks barriers, and changes the game. But here's the question, and it's the real one that matters.